Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, our podcast at the 11th of April 2021 will be about an autistic person living through the COVID pandemic. I know that it has been so long that we've been waited for another episode of podcast due to my busyness with my online course, which were very which I found it very busy and stressful. So today I'm going to be talking about the COVID pandemic and how it affects an autistic person's life. And my audience is going to be my dad. So Dad, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Eric, the father of Adrian. Thank you, Adrian, for inviting me to
Welcome.
to join this podcast. It's my privilege to be able to do this together with you. You know,
Yeah.
so I have been working with Adrian for years since he was 3 or 4 years old,
Three
all the
years old.
way 3 years old, yeah, all the way, and it's there have been a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of joys and sadness, but ultimately we fill our life with tears and joys, and thank you God that we are working along this journey up to this point. So Adrian, I know that being autistic, it is difficult to cope with this pandemic, because like we are facing strange time, lockdown, and all that, right? So basically, uh, how what I'm thinking is how does this pandemic lockdown uh, that trouble you?
So the COVID pandemic and the lockdown had been affecting my life every day, and sometimes it can worsen my anxiety disorder or some of my OCD. So I mean, there are a bit of up and down. But
Yes.
as an autistic person myself, here, so because of the lockdown, we have to stay at home. So here's what my special world is like usually, while before the lockdown. So usually every summer, my family and I would go to Disneyland where I can take pictures of the characters and play with the characters there, which I really enjoy, and one of my happiest things in my world. But due to the lockdown, we cannot go there, and even though we go there, we cannot touch the characters due to the social distancing. So this can be really upsetting for my world, and
Yeah.
it has a lot of impact, negative impact. For example, I could feel like I never get to touch them again, or something from my world have been taken away, and something I really wish for had been taken away, which have been a really upsetting for me. And the other thing is, sometimes I like to go out and play with my friends around my neighborhood who are children, but because of the lockdown, we cannot really go out and play. So so I really miss them, and and I really and I really and because usually going out to play with my friends is really exciting and enjoying for me, but because of the lockdown we cannot do that. So every day looking at this beautiful sunshine outside, but we have to stay inside, that can be very stressful. And since there are loads of exciting events that have been cancelled because of the lockdown, it caused a lot of trouble with my stress and my anxiety, because when I don't have these things, I can get very stressed and worried, and and I I can and it can worsen my behavior, such as my OCD in the toilet, where some of the negative thoughts come to my mind. I keep thinking of the negative thoughts, so it will make me spending so long in the toilet with my OCD. Like, when thought come back, I keep on doing things over again to make the thought go away. And always seeing dark image, because part of my autism, one of the stress I have is that when something don't work in my way or something goes wrong, I do get very anxious, and things in my mind will and there will be lots of bad image coming out in my mind. And when there are bad image, I could be thinking something very negative, thinking everything is hopeless. So everything will keep coming back and keep on, and it feel like, so the negative thought can be very irritating and cause a lot of my problem with my habits, everyday habits, everyday behavior, such as the OCD repetitive movement or some of my tics.
So Adrian, I'm really sorry for hearing all this. It sounds like you have a lot of trouble with these bad images, negative thoughts, uh, repetitive behavior, all that. So when these things keep coming back, or when these things happen, is there any way that you can cope with these?
Well, here's the thing I always say to myself. It won't be the end of the world, because the COVID pandemic will eventually go away soon. So especially because when I heard people keep saying that the vaccine were going to make the pandemic over and we can all go back to before 2019. So that kind of give me hope about 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 when the pandemic will be over. So so what I keep on thinking is that I keep on so I starting to keep on thinking that there will be vaccine, and the vaccine will make the pandemic over. And eventually the vaccine did came to Ireland, and I got my first dose of vaccine, which is a great news. Really happy and excited. But while waiting for other to be vaccinated, we still have to follow the COVID rules and the pandemic rules. So while waiting, I would do something to keep me cheerful. And for example, at home, I will be I will be so I've been doing something, enjoying doing my hobbies, like playing with my Disney toys or my figurines, making up story with it, which kind of make me happy and stay, and just to think about something positive, because I cannot really go and play with my little friends. So I but because we know each other from because we are following each other from the social media. So every night we do a video call with each other and talk about stories, and talking to each other, which sounds very fun. Why we have to wait until the pandemic over to able to meet back each other.
So that's very good that you keep contact with your friends.
Yep.
and you make phone calls with them.
yeah.
So tell us, how do they find this pandemic lockdown?
Well, some of them, because some of them they have autism. So for them, well, well, a bit like me, they may miss their holiday. Some of them they love Disneyland, and they miss it. But other than that, because for those who has autism, they only because I'm their only friends, so the impact isn't that really that big, I think. But other than that, we talk about stories, we talk about different things, and we make promise about what we will do together after the pandemic, which is which is very interesting, and we do that every night while waiting for going back out and play. And
So am I correct to say that to be able to keep encouraging one another would be the key to deal with all these worries and anxieties?
yeah, that's true. So keep in touch with one another, and 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 just do something what you like in your world, and and the other thing is, because of the Disneyland, and the other thing I miss is the Disneyland, because we cannot go on any holiday. And I know that last summer the Disneyland had been reopened after the lockdown, but everything is different due to the pandemic. So like you cannot touch the characters, which I really always love to do. So because people have to social distancing away from the characters, so because I'm there to touch the characters, so we didn't. So we decide not to go there. So it's really upsetting, but while waiting to able to touch the characters again like usual, what what I've been doing is on I've been in the Disney characters fan group in the Instagram, where I get, and actually it's my first time to make on people to make friends with other through online, and there are loads of people online who are Disney characters fan. So these people like from Japan, America, and different places in different countries, and they all share posts about Disney characters. So I like the posts, and we talk about Disney characters, and we talk about how we got pictures or get to see them or meet and greet them, and then we talk about how to get more after the pandemic. So it's another good way that, so actually there are some positive influences that since there are negative, but the positive is that's encouraged me to meet someone through online.
So sounds like sharing good messages is a very good way to override the
Yeah.
worries from due to the pandemic
Yeah.
lockdown, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. So 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 the yeah so meeting different people through Instagram and liking their posts, and then I've been making some friends through Instagram, and especially a girl from Japan. So we've been talking about Disney characters and some of the Japanese cultures, and throughout the pandemic, the other I did interesting was I was looking at the Japanese cultures, and I feel like Japanese cultures is like my autistic world, especially the anime culture.
So Adrian, tell us. I know that you are trying to develop some special interest in order to keep yourself focused and keep yourself upbeat. So can you share with us what you have been doing?
So I've been pursuing my special interest I've been, as I told you before, and because I love the Japanese anime culture, so I'm starting to learn to speak Japanese, and I've been doing some autism podcasts or writing stories. So one of the things to deal with my anxiety is my special interest. So as an autistic person, special interest is really important for us, and it's a good way to help us to keep calm, to reduce anxiety, and because of how the way we love our special interests and in a way so obsessive with them, but a good obsession. So sometimes this can actually reduce our anxiety, whatever things going on. So one of my so so the other thing I did the other thing I was doing was learning Japanese. So I've been because of my special interest in Japanese anime culture, I've been self-learning Japanese myself. I've been I've been
Did you find it interesting?
really interesting, but due but because I'm learning it myself and I've language problem, it's better to have another person to teach, but because of the pandemic I cannot find any.
That sounds like all very good strategies you have been taking, and particularly to pursuing your special interests like learning Japanese, meeting with your friends, all that. So I'm thinking, other people, perhaps people with special needs, uh, may experience this kind of troubles during the pandemic lockdown. Would you have any suggestion to for our friends who have special needs?
Well, here's my suggestion. Because sometimes the pandemic, some of the special world or that needs to be met, but because of the pandemic is making it really hard for them. So what I would suggest is, first of all first of all you first of all you try to explain to them about what's going on, and maybe you explain it in a positive way rather than saying that we're in the pandemic now, so everything will gone. Instead of saying that, we should try to tell them about that this is the new disease, but as we know that the vaccine will make it disappear, so maybe give them hope about that. It will be just for a few months, but afterwards the pandemic will be gone when there are vaccine and we can all go back to before the COVID. And then during the pandemic, you can try to make them to learn how to wait for something they want to do, while pursue some special interest with them to keep their attention and thinking away from the stress. And and for those like me who have OCD and something they cannot do and that can worsen the behavior, first of all I would say try to make the talk calm, work on the behavior that won't getting worse, and then use the special interest to keep pursuing until they are relaxed, happy, comfort, and they feel relief, and and just keep pursuing the special interest with them, and it's just like that. It's just like when you're at the airport, you really want to get to the airplane, but like the airplane need to be done everything, so before you get on the airplane you cannot wait that long, so you would try to do something that entertain you before then. When the airplane had announced, then you go and then you fly. It's the same things apply. the pandemic will go away. While waiting for going away, just do something that you enjoy first, and then you, and then wait until everything is gone. Then you do about something you like.
That's a very interesting suggestion and very interesting idea, or an interesting analogy
Yeah,
to compare that with waiting for plane departing.
yeah,
You know, is a great suggestion.
yeah,
Adrian, it's great that we have heard all of these suggestions from you, how we can cope with the pressures due to the pandemic lockdown, and particularly your worries, the worries that you have been going through, and the way that you have been coping with them. They are great. They're great suggestions, and they're great experience that we can all learn from that. You know, and I know that there's also some trouble for online learning, because like this is a very real time. So I think next time we can be focused more on online learning. What are the troubles that we can come across, or we can experience for online learning, and how we can get that over. So Adrian, thank you very much for
Thank you.
inviting me to join your podcast.
welcome.
So we talk to you folks again until next time. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Bye.
Bye.